Chapter 5. Highlights of Psalm 27. Psalm 27, 1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? 2. When the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. 3. Though an host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise against me, in this will one be confident. 4. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple. 5. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set me up upon a rock. 6. And now shall mine head be lifted up above mine enemies round about me. Therefore will I offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy. I will sing, yea, I will sing praises unto the Lord. 7. Hear, O Lord, when I cry with my voice. Have mercy also upon me, and answer me. 8. When thou saidst, seek ye my face, my heart said unto thee, thy face, Lord, will I seek. 9. Hide not thy face far from me. Put not thy servant away in anger. Thou hast been my help. Leave me not, neither forsake me, O God of my salvation. 10. When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up. 11. Teach me thy way, O Lord, and lead me in a plain path, because of mine enemies. 12. Deliver me not over unto the will of mine enemies, for false witnesses are risen up against me, and such as breathe out cruelty. 13. One had fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. 14. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. Psalm 27. The 27th Psalm is sometimes referred to as a psalm of transmutation. As you affirm the great truths of this psalm, its healing, soothing, vitalizing vibration impinges upon all the nerve centers of your body. Moreover, these spiritual vibrations enter into your subconscious mind, and like spiritual penicillin, they destroy the bacteria of fear, worry, anxiety, and depression. This psalm is one of the greatest antidotes to fear in the world today. I have recommended this psalm to great numbers of people down through the years, pointing out to them that countless people have used this psalm in emergencies and have saved their lives from shipwrecks, from fire, from death and destruction, from so-called incurable illnesses, from mountainous debts and other acute problems. The experiences of all these people have been registered indelibly in the Akashic record, Universal Subjective Mind. When you use the psalm, even though you may not completely understand the inner spiritual meaning, you nevertheless awaken and resurrect the same vibrations that others in similar conditions have experienced. In other words, you are tuning in subjectively with the marvelous and miraculous results which others have obtained. Read it slowly, quietly, and reverently, knowing that you are resurrecting the infinite healing presence within you, which knows all and sees all. You can use this psalm to overcome any specific difficulty. As you meditate quietly on this psalm, you lift up your state of consciousness to a spiritual level wherein the trouble is dissipated. And I, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. John 12:32. This means that when your thought is answered and is lifted up to the point of acceptance, your prayer dwell upon the spiritual meaning of this psalm, which is enunciated and elaborated on in the following pages. Appropriate these truths to yourself. Reject all negative thoughts which come to your mind by supplanting them with constructive spiritual thoughts. Verse 1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? The Lord means the one presence, God, the living Spirit, Almighty within you. There is only one power, and there is nothing to oppose, challenge, or thwart the one power. It has no antagonists, and there is nothing to oppose omnipotence. This verse informs you point blank that there is only one power, and it is all light, meaning it is supreme intelligence. Light means intelligence. The Bible says, I am the Lord, that is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images. Isaiah 42:8. I am means the indwelling God in you. The psalmist is saying that infinite intelligence knows the answer to all things. The light dispels the darkness. Salvation means the solution to all your problems. You are saved from sickness by the realization of the healing power of God saturating your whole being. You are saved from ignorance by realizing that infinite intelligence, which is the light of the world, knows the answer to all problems. You learn that thoughts are things, what you feel you attract, what you imagine you become. Ignorance dies in you when you know that every thought is creative and you are what you think all day long. Knowing this, you will make it a habit to dwell on whatsoever things are true, lovely, noble, and godlike. You are saved from poverty and lack when you know that God is the source of your supply, meeting all your needs at all times, everywhere. When you claim your spiritual good, the spiritual powers in you will immediately activate material good, and all the things you need to lead a full and happy life will be added to you. You are saved from poverty by recognizing God's riches which surround you, and by claiming your good, which was given to you from the foundation of time. A woman in Laguna Hills asked me what she could do regarding some gold which her husband had bought prior to his transition. She said that he had bought $25,000 worth of gold coins in Nevada. When he came, he told her he was going to hide them somewhere in the house where no one could find them. In the meantime, she went to visit her sister, who was very ill, and when she returned the next day, she discovered that her husband had passed on in his sleep, leaving no note or directions of any kind. After the funeral, she searched everywhere for the gold to no avail. I suggested that she ask her subconscious mind to cast light on the subject. Accordingly, that night, prior to sleep, she said to her subconscious, "Infinite intelligence, you are all wise. Reveal to me the place where the gold my husband purchased is secreted. I give thanks for the answer." She repeated this request slowly and quietly for several minutes and then went off to sleep while contemplating the one word, answer. When sound asleep, her husband appeared to her saying, "I am happy," whereby 1 a.m. "The gold is in the yard next to the big tree. Dig there and you will find it in a big jar." In the morning she got a spade and dug in the area outlined in the dream, and there was the gold in the jar. This is the light the psalmist is talking about. Whether it had been her husband who appeared in the dream or just a dramatization of her subconscious mind matters not, as the infinite intelligence of her subconscious mind answers in ways we know not of. Verse 1, "The Lord is the strength of my life." I had a visit today from a man who had been hospitalized by a crippling illness at Christmas time. I talked with him several times over the phone and suggested that he affirm frequently during the day, "God walks and talks in me." He then was to imagine he was walking into the Saddleback Valley Cinema, El Toro Road, to hear my lectures on Sunday mornings, shaking hands with me and hearing me congratulate him on his miraculous healing. In his imagination, he dramatized the reality of all this. He felt the naturalness of the handshake and heard the words clearly in his mind. In his vivid imagination, he walked down the aisle and felt the solidity and tangibility of the theater seat. He made all this vivid and real, confidently knowing that the picture would sink into his subconscious mind and come to pass. Last Sunday, he walked in without crutches, and he experienced objectively what he had been subjectively dramatizing so vividly. He came to my office today in Leisure World at the time of this writing to tell me of his wonderful experience while in the hospital. God calleth those things which be not as though they were. Romans 4:17. He discovered that there was a power within him, enabling him to overcome his problems. He had experienced all-around harmony and peace, which is the meaning of salvation. Verse 2, "When the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell." The enemies are always in your own mind, created by yourself, such as fear, doubt, worry, resentment, hostility, etc. The wicked means to be bewitched with negative or destructive emotions of your own making. The phrase "to eat up my flesh" is an apt metaphor indicating that our thoughts of resentment, anger, hostility, etc. irritate and annoy us and rob us of vitality, energy, and peace of mind. The solution is to quiet your mind and affirm, slowly and quietly, "The healing light of God saturates my mind and heart, and God's love fills my soul. The light of God surrounds me, enfolds me, and enwraps me. As you affirm these truths, all negative thoughts are neutralized and destroyed. Verse 3, though an host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise against me, in this will I be confident. You shall not fear, for you are aligned with the infinite, which is all-powerful and all-wise. There is no power to challenge it. This is why, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Psalm 23:4. Your faith is placed in the almighty power which never falls. I had a phone call from a woman who had been hypnotized by a fortune teller who had told her that the spirits in the next dimension wanted her to give her property to her so she could enlarge her services as a fortune teller and counselor. She gave her property to this woman, but later realized that she had been defrauded and brainwashed. The gullibility of some people is beyond belief. The property was worth over $250,000. Her attorney was a spiritually oriented man and understood the machinations of the mind. This woman was panic-stricken because, through an emissary, the fortune teller had sent her a message that if she went to court, she would use the death prayer against her and she would die. I told her to read the 27th Psalm 3 times out loud slowly, morning, afternoon, and evening, prior to sleep, and to realize that this woman had no real power. She was to completely reject the negative suggestion. Oftentimes, the explanation is the cure, and it went along these lines. Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel. According to this time it shall be said of Jacob and of Israel, what hath God wrought? Numbers 23:23. What people call the death prayer and black magic is simply an inversion of the law of the infinite. If I wish another evil, I must be in a very negative state myself. Therefore, I bring evil on myself and will be stricken, because my moods are creative. The only way my negative or destructive thinking can hurt the other person is for the person to foolishly and stupidly accept the suggestion and grant me power to hurt him. Then the other person will become the victim. But if the other person should laugh and ridicule my so-called powers, then all the negative thoughts would boomerang back at me, all of which would be self-destructive. The voodoo doctor in Australia or the jungles of Africa always sends the intended victim a message informing him of the fact that his image is being burned, and the fear engendered by himself kills him. In other words, he kills himself. Black magic is actualized by man believing in it. Although the other person is working negatively against you, pouring out imprecations upon you and visualizing you as dead, in reality he is unable to do so because he does not want death for himself. This explanation registered in her mind. She began to pray as follows: the infinite law of justice, truth, and harmony operate perfectly for me and all concerned in this legal matter. My attorney is God's man, and God is guiding him. There's nothing hidden that is not revealed. There's nothing covered that is not made known. I release Mrs. to God. Whenever I think of her, I will affirm, I release you to God. God be with you. She read the 27th Psalm out loud several times a day, and whenever fear thoughts came, she supplanted them with, the Lord is my light and salvation. Whom should I fear? The fortune teller became very ill and was soon at death's door. She called this woman and asked her to come to her home with her attorney. She gave her back the land, signing over everything in a legal way. Her negativity had boomeranged and she wanted to make amends and be forgiven, which she was. After this amicable settlement, the fortune teller recovered her health. There is always an answer. Verses 4 and 5. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set me up upon a rock. You dwell in the house of the Lord, which is your own mind, when you walk and talk with the infinite presence within you. You are said to dwell there because, through frequent habitation of the mind, you dwell on the truth that God is your life, and that the Spirit, or God, indwells you, loves you, and cares for you. Wherever you are, whether driving along the road, baking a cake, or walking along the street, you can remind yourself frequently that God thinks, speaks, acts, and talks through you. Then you are in attunement with the infinite, and you also realize that you are the temple of the living God. The indescribable beauty of the infinite animates and sustains you. These two verses point out that the most important thing in your life is to put God first while realizing that this infinite presence and power is your guide, your counselor, your way shower, your paymaster, and the source of all blessings. Knowing this, you do not give power to externals, to people, or to any objective event or condition, because you realize that the cause is within. You do not give power to created things. Give power to the Creator. Nothing grieves you, nothing disturbs you, everything in the world passes away but God, and God alone is sufficient. You are the tabernacle of God, and you dwell in the secret place when you contemplate the love, light, and glory of the infinite, which reveals to you everything you need to know at all times everywhere. When you realize that you are immersed in the holy, omnipresence and surrounded by the sacred circle of God's eternal love, you are on a rock. This means that you are impervious to all harm and are invulnerable and invincible. You are surrounded and encompassed by the armor of God, and your life is secure at all times everywhere. Verse 6, And now shall mine head be lifted up above mine enemies round about me. Therefore will I offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy. I will sing, yea, I will sing praises unto the Lord. Sacrifice means to give up the lesser for the greater. You replace sadness with gladness, and when you begin to exalt the God presence within you, all the powers of the God presence begin to flow in your behalf. The enemies are always created in your own mind, such as fear, worry, anxiety, resentment, etc. And when the psalmist speaks of lifting your head above the enemies, he means that you cremate the negative thoughts with the fire of divine love. The head is symbolic of knowledge, and you, being now aware of the one presence and power within you, all the fear thoughts are expunged from your mind. The singer lost her voice due to a sudden shock, and for 1 month could not sing or speak aloud. I told her to sing silently to herself, to form the words quietly and affirm, I will sing, yea, I will sing praises unto the Lord. She did this silently for 15 or 20 minutes at a time, 3 or 4 times a day, forming the words in the silence and imagining she was singing before an audience. Doctors could find no pathological condition, paralysis, or infection of any kind. It had come about as a result of a great shock due to something she had witnessed. In 4 days' time, her voice was restored. He restoreth my soul. Psalm 23:3. Verse 7, Hear, O Lord, when I cry with my voice, have mercy also upon me and answer me. Here the psalmist is saying that when you call upon infinite intelligence, you get a response. Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. Isaiah 65:24. The nature of infinite intelligence is responsiveness. Verse 8, When thou saidst, Seek ye my face, my heart said unto thee, Thy face, Lord, will I seek. God has no face, form, or figure. God is the living spirit within. Face means the truth. When I look at your face, I recognize you. Recognize the infinite spirit within you, and know that it responds to you. Then you will be seeking the face of God, and you will experience the joy of the answered prayer. Verse 9, Hide not thy face far from me, put not thy servant away in anger. Thou hast been my help. Leave me not, neither forsake me, O God of my salvation. God is omnipresent and is never hidden from us, as God is the very life of us. When we are fearful and worried and try so hard to get an answer, it is as though God were hidden from us. Mental coercion and willpower fail completely. It is the quiet, receptive mind that gets the answer, as prayer is effortless effort. When we are doubtful or full of tear, we block our good. God speaks in peace, not in confusion. Verse 10, When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up. The God presence never fails and never deserts you. You are a son or a daughter of the infinite, and God is love. The will of the infinite for you is always a greater measure of life, love, truth, and beauty. In other words, the more abundant life. God is always seeking a holy receptacle that he might express himself at higher levels through you. God is boundless love, and love cannot do anything unloving. Verses 11 and 12. Teach me thy way, O Lord, and lead me in a plain path because of mine enemies. Deliver me not over unto the will of mine enemies, for false witnesses are risen up against me, and such as breathe out cruelty. Here the psalmist prays that God will lead him to paths of pleasantness and ways of peace. The false witnesses are the fear and doubts that rise in your mind. There is nothing to challenge omnipotence. God is all-powerful, all-wise, the ever-living one. When you unite with the indwelling God in your thoughts, you neutralize all negativity. All of your fear is due to lack of faith in God. Fears are cruel, always created in your own mind, and are cast out by calling on divine love to fill your soul. Verses 13 and 14. I had fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. What do you believe in? To believe is to accept something as true. The most wonderful answer you could give would be to answer as follows. I believe in the goodness of God in the land of the living. My faith, trust, and complete reliance is indeed entirely upon the divine presence within and not upon my intellect, other people, or externals. My faith is in God, the only presence and power. The closing phrase in this psalm represents a powerful and wonderful exhortation to be persistent and faithful in prayer. To wait upon the Lord does not mean idleness or neglect, hoping that God will come along and solve your problems. On the contrary, it means that you believe, know, and expect a divine solution, because you turn to the infinite presence and power in faith and in confidence, and you know that the solution or answer will come. Waiting on the Lord means praying regularly and systematically about your difficulty or problem. It means patience and persistence. The effect of your constant reiteration of the truths of God will strengthen your heart and give you greater faith. Finally, as you continue in the realization of the power of God operating in your behalf, the day will break and all the shadows will flee away.